Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to give you a report because there have been several changes that have been implemented on the MLS system within the last week or so to accommodate some of the changes in the way that we've been adapting to providing virtual services. So I just wanted to kind of review a summary of some of those changes, share some of that information with you. One of the first things I wanted to share with you was kind of an update in terms of where we are with showing activity. This is a report that we've been tracking. It updates on a daily basis and then reports on a rolling weekly average what the showing activity has been within the Greater Baton Rouge Association marketplace. You can see kind of the crossover point for us in terms of performance from last year to this year was around March 18th to the 19th. Of course, the governor's stay-at-home order actually issued, I think, on the 22nd, and we can see what the outcome of that has been. The good news is that we've actually bottomed out, it appears, according to the chart here. And actually, with the exception of a slight dip here over the Easter weekend, seem to be headed towards an upturn towards a more normal increase in showing activity. Obviously, it's still too early to tell whether this is going to begin the sustained recovery, and a lot of that is going to depend on state and local plans for either extending the stay-at-home order beyond the end of April or whether or not the transition back is beginning. I think this is also indicative of some of the new ways that we've adapted to being able to do work virtually in the environment, which is brings us to kind of the next thing I wanted to show you, which is some ability that we have to change some of the changes that have been made on the MLS system moving into a more virtual environment. One of those actually has to do with scheduling showings in a more virtual way. You'll see here I've got an example of a listing within the MLS system. And if I wanted to schedule a showing on that particular listing, I can simply click schedule a showing like I normally would. When that comes up, I can go ahead and indicate my showing, when I want that showing to occur, by putting in my showing time. And one of the things that you'll see here that's new is actually the ability to record a virtual showing. This might be used in the instance where the parties actually aren't going to be in the house, but want to schedule an appointment to perhaps have their agent walk through the house via live stream or something to conduct what would otherwise be considered a virtual showing. So that option to the appointment pick list for those schedules is actually something that's new, that's been added to the system. A couple other changes have been made as well. I want to show you some of those. They have to do specifically with open houses and with virtual tours. So let's jump in and show you kind of how some of those would work. Here I am logged into the MLS system, and we'll start by talking about virtual tours. The virtual tours have been around in the MLS for quite some time, but there's actually been some changes made as recently as just this week in terms of how those are identified within the MLS system. So I'm going to jump into my maintain listings here. And if we go into that select an action item, you'll see that there's an opportunity here to go in and add or edit a virtual tour. Notice that when I do that, there are now two options for virtual tours: an unbranded virtual tour and a branded virtual tour. This branded virtual tour is actually the new addition. The unbranded is what we've had for quite some time. It's important to understand the difference in that the unbranded tour is the tour that gets embedded within any of the stock reports within the MLS system for emailing out to your prospective customers or clients. So by putting an unbranded virtual tour link in there, other agents are going to be able to share that without fear that an advertisement for a potential competitor pops up in the middle of that virtual tour. A branded virtual tour, however, does give you the ability or a place to put that link for a tour that does contain your branding or contact information. Those specifically are now being distributed out to some of the third-party sites for public advertisement. So that information can contain your brand. It is being syndicated out through our syndication channels, but that being a new field, I have to remind you that it may take them some time to accommodate picking up some of those virtual tours. But that's one of the items that's new. The other one has to do with open houses, and it's fairly similar. If I want to go in and schedule open houses, I can go ahead and add or edit an open house the same way that I would otherwise. But there's a new option here that allows me to identify that open house as being a live stream open house. with the social distancing requirements that are in place, we don't want to have large crowds of people, but this allows you to hold a live virtual open house and stream that through the web, through something like FaceTime or Zoom, and share a live presentation of the property, be able to interact with prospective browsers to answer any questions that they may have about the property. It's important to know that there are a specific set of live stream links that are acceptable. You should be able to see those in a link to the article below, but I wanted to let you know that that also is a new addition to the system. Simply put in the live stream URL, indicate the date and the time that that's going to be held, and it would appear within the MLS system just like any other open house would appear as a way for you to continue to show the property. One other thing I wanted to let you know about, if you need additional resources in terms of the boxes, one of the things in terms of showing things like lock boxes, we have made some accommodations for that, so I wanted to let you know how that can happen. If you do need additional lock boxes, simply call the office 761-2000, and if you'll hit number 7 on the menu, our staff will be able to actually take an order and process the order for the lockbox over the phone. They'll then be able to provide you with both the serial number and the shackle code for the box. Once you've received that information, you can actually go to the office and retrieve that lockbox from the front door by checking the serial number, opening the shackle, and then taking your box and being able to go. If you need large quantities of lock boxes, those can also be arranged by appointment by simply calling that number and hitting number 7 in the menu to get that arranged. So just an update on some of the changes that have taken place. Want to encourage everybody to hang in there, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.